Want to accept Bitcoin payments in your ShopBrick store? In this video, we will integrate BTCPay Server into ShopBrick and build complete payment flow from clicking Pay with Bitcoin button to creating invoice, completing checkout, and verifying the payment status after the customer returns to the site. And the best part, it works with a static site and requires only small Cloudflare Worker. Let's dive in. So this is a fresh installed ShopBrick site with two example products. I added configurations for Stripe and PayPal. For Stripe and PayPal, how it works, it uses front-end key, Stripe or PayPal, to create a shopping cart with line items and redirects to Stripe or PayPal. So for BTC Pay, it's a bit different. So in order to create BTC Pay payment, need to create invoice first. And in order to do this, need to use private API key. Private API key cannot be exposed to front-end from the security perspective. So as ShopBrick is a front-end framework, the build is front-end, we need to use something in the middle. So we created a BTCPay Worker to disclosure the BTCPay Server key, and in the backend it's a small backend to create invoice. So ShopBrick creates post request to create invoice using BTCPay Worker that can be deployed to Cloudflare. BTCPay Worker responds with invoice ID and checkout URL, and then ShopBrick redirects to checkout URL, which is BTCPay Server URL. After the customer completes payment, they redirect back to ShopBrick, and ShopBrick on a payment status page verifies invoice status by invoice ID and shows if it's paid or not paid. So we created ShopBrick BTCPay Worker. It's a small app that can be deployed to Cloudflare, and also to test it locally, created ShopBrick BTCPay mock server to test all integration locally. So I run locally site on port 3000. I have ShopBrick BTCPay Worker. I run it with npx wrangler dev. It runs API on port 8787 and BTC mock server run locally on port 9000. Mock server has route with all invoices. Currently there are no invoices, and in order for ShopBrick to be integrated with BTCPay Worker, we need, looking at documentation, we need to add BTCPay Worker URL into ShopBrick config. So I add BTCPay Worker URL in test YAML to localhost 8787, and I'm reloading ShopBrick site, and automatically this button appears. It checks if the worker URL is in the config, and if it's there, the button is shown. And from the perspective of BTCPay Worker, it should be configured with BTCPay URL, store ID, and BTCPay API key, which currently configured to use local BTCPay mock server. So let's test payment. So I select color of this product, click pay with Bitcoin. This is mock payment page. So pay simulates successful payment. So I click pay and I'm redirected back to ShopBrick site. ShopBrick checks payment status, invoice status, and it's the server returns paid to worker, and worker returns paid to settled to ShopBrick. Let's do another one testing. Let's pay this with BTCPay mock server and leave it as it is, just return to shop. And now we have payment not completed. And if we go to admin, mock admin, we have two invoices there. One is settled and one is new. Let's do another testing. Let's go to shop, add this product to cart, add this one to cart. It's black color. Sorry, I didn't mean to do this. So add this to cart. Now go to cart and let's do another two of this and one of this and pay with Bitcoin. Now I click pay and this simulates. So actually user should do complete payment and then the customer redirected back to ShopBrick site. But this is mock server, so as a user I only need to click pay. And let's check invoice. So invoice is in BTCPay server, has all metadata of all product variants that were added to the cart. Even if the customer just clicked from the product page or featuring product section or added products to cart and then clicked pay with Bitcoin. So the ShopBrick is a stateless framework. It doesn't store any information, and the source of truth is a payment system. So payment system contains all data, all orders and payments that were happened on the site. It currently as it works. And there is also the instruction how to configure and how to deploy this worker to production. So you just use Wrangler login to Cloudflare. You add BTCPay API key and configure BTCPay server URL, store ID. After that, Cloudflare returns something like this. It's like URL of worker. And to ShopBrick, you add this into config, info production YAML, and build and deploy. And after that, integration is complete. We have just added Bitcoin payments to ShopBrick using BTCPay Server while keeping the platform completely static and open source. If you're interested into modern e-commerce, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be sharing more ShopBrick tutorials and updates. Feel free to leave a comment with question or ideas for future videos. Thank you for watching and happy building!